biggest names in concert tickets and ticket selling in the U.S. are being sued. Ticketmaster, Live Nation accused of using illegal reselling tactics, costing their customers millions of dollars in the process. The culprit, dynamic pricing. Some are going overboard, making Ariana Grande and Lady Gaga fans pay up to $1,500 for concert tickets. So let's discuss what is happening in the industry, what is fair, what is unfair. A man that knows technology, he also knows his music business, by the way, is Mitch Joel, tech advisor, co-founder of ThinkersOne. Mitch, welcome back to the show.
Always great to be here. Thanks for having me, Elias.
So I wonder how you view this because, I'm trying to think about what is fair. And I'm thinking about artists, and they have a show, and there's 20,000 tickets, and they put it for sale. And let's say they don't use dynamic pricing. They're like, our tickets cost $100. Well, the next day they're going to be up online, and somebody is going to be reselling those tickets for $500 or $800, whatever the going rate is. And the artist isn't getting that money. So part of me is like, well, hold on a second. If this is all to, keep some more of the money for artists, if at the end of the day, the real price on the market is $1,000, I don't know if I'm too upset about it. How do you view this issue, Mitch?
I kind of go back and forth as you do, in the sense of, I always say the same line. The market is brutal. It really does decide where the value is. But I think we're missing a couple of components from this conversation. On the consumer side, if you look at the top ways consumers are actually paying for tickets, you'll realize that it's on a buy now, pay later model. So they can't necessarily afford the full ticket price for a pair of tickets to an event. Are they paying for it on credit card? And if so, what percentage of them have credit card debt as well? Meaning they're going into more financial debt to buy these concert tickets.
I get what you're saying, but that's not Ticketmaster's fault.
Not at all. No, but if we're saying that that's what the market is willing to pay, we have to really understand what the consumer actually can afford. And what I'm trying to say is that in some instances, they may be buying it even though they actually can't afford it. And so that perpetuates the market moving forward. On the other side, you got to look at this realistically. Should the price of milk be the same in a centralized big city as it would be in a far off region with smaller demographic? Perhaps it costs more to transport it there, et cetera, et cetera. There's more incurred costs. And so this is the other problem of it, where you look and say the market will dictate what the value is. And absolutely right that if third sellers are establishing that, let's say for argument's sake, a ticket that's going for $150 actually has a viable market of $500-$600, why should the promoter, the manager, the record label, and the artist be penalized for trying to do perceptionally what is the right thing when the market is actually telling them something fundamentally different?
Is there, like Ticketmaster, Live Nation, are they doing anything that, in your estimation, I don't the word nefarious, or are they doing anything where they're rigging the dynamic pricing to squeeze more money out of people? Because that I would have issue with, right? If it was truly fair and they're just going by supply and demand, I'm kind of on team supply and demand. I wonder if they're doing anything that goes beyond that.
So this lawsuit isn't necessarily about dynamic pricing. It's the fact that the alleged argument is that these entertainment giants have coordinated with brokers, scalpers, third parties to buy a bunch of concert tickets and ultimately sell those either on Ticketmaster or other third parties for a substantially marked up price. And then obviously they're profiting from that resale value. So that's the crux of the case, which is different than just should there be dynamic pricing.
So they know it's happening and they like it, right? They know the reselling's happening. They like it because at the end of the day, they're all profiting from it.
Yes, and the FTC in the States is also accusing Ticketmaster of deceptively advertising lower prices for tickets than what consumers will actually pay for. So you might see a ticket's $150. You'll get into the queue, you'll wait several hours, and then at that moment, it's $500 or $600.
And you've got the clock ticking. So this is unfair, right? You've got the clock in the corner. We're holding these tickets for 10 minutes, 9:58, 9:57. The clock's ticking down. You wanted to spend $150. It's showing you $600. You want to go see this artist once in a lifetime opportunity. You got no choice at that point. You pay the $600.
And to add to this, there's something new called ghost tickets. Have you heard about these?
No, what's this?
The ghost tickets are if you buy a ticket from one of these platforms, let's say other than the actual organizer, your Live Nations and Ticketmasters, what they're doing is they are essentially advertising tickets that you are buying, even though the person who's selling them may not have them. So now through the algorithms and other third parties, so let's say, for example, I'm going to pay $600 for this Ariana Grande ticket in this exact seat. That person who's selling it will now go find the ticket and then source it for you. So they'll say, let's say they paid $500 for it. They make $100.
Oh, it sounds like stock options for tickets.
So
Terrible.
this, I think the greater thing I want to share with you and the audience is this idea of what happens when we remove physical pricing from things. So imagine you're in a store and there's no physical tags. They're just digital. So you could walk in the morning and it's $1.99. You could walk back in the afternoon. It's $5.99. You'd never know what the actual quote unquote price was. And I made this argument, I think over 15 years ago, I wrote about this fear of dynamic pricing. We've also become very comfortable with this in terms of whether we like it or not. Hotels, airlines, go on and on through things we buy where we don't know. Now, we love it when it says the Kindle book was $49.99 and today it's $1.99. We love it when it works in our favor.
Mitch, let me, to wrap up here on this subject, one of my favorite bands is Radiohead, okay? I've seen them, I don't know, 24 times, like in my lifetime. Very lucky. I followed them on tours, that kind of stuff. They just announced a tour in Europe. They're only going to play 4 cities. They're doing 4 or 5 shows in each city, and that's it, right? Now, on if there's another way of doing it, they're running their own ticketing. They've got their partners. So you have to sign up. The people had to sign up. There was a lottery. And then they threw, like, people bought tickets, and I'm seeing these sob stories. People that bought tickets, they're real fans. And then they had an algorithm go through the ticket sales to see if anyone bought them illegitimately, and they canceled the sales. They're going to be offering a resale site that they're going to run where you can't jack up the price. So I'm just like, okay, there are other ways.
There are.
But it certainly seems no fun either. Like the way they're doing it with that much control.
Look, you have a record business, a music business that's been in trouble in terms of album sales, record sales. Look at merchandise. You're paying $60, $70 for a t-shirt now. And they are looking for ways to do this in an ever increasingly expensive world. It is not easy to bring these shows to city after city after city in terms of people, transport. I have empathy on both sides, but I can't not look at this and think the insanity of this pricing is insane.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like I think if they had to do 20 shows in 20 different cities, they would just go with Ticketmaster. They would just go with the old alternatives. But the fact that they said, okay, we're going to control everything and do a limited amount, afforded them that ability.
Well, and they have the success and money to be able to afford to do that as well.
Yeah. All right, Mitch, listen, we're a little bit over time. We'll come back real soon. I want to talk about this book story. I do find this fascinating that, books may have a comeback here if we get overloaded with all this online nonsense. Maybe that physical book will actually be a winner at the end of the day. Come back again on that topic, okay?
We'll do it next week. Yeah,
we'll do it next week. That's Mitch Joel. He is a tech advisor, co-founder of ThinkersOne, and the author of 6 Pixels of Separation.
I'm Dylan Playfair.
And I'm Tyler Smith.
We're putting loneliness in the penalty box by talking to some of our favorite athletes about the importance of friendship.
This is Bromance.
Bromance is brought to you by Charm Diamond Centers, proudly Canadian-owned and operated. Charm has been part of your love stories and bromances for over 50 years.
And you can find Bromance on the iHeartRadio network or wherever you get your podcasts.